a Garage Shared podcast, and I am Gavin Ford.
I'm Bit Right.
I'm Aki.
It's a different podcast today. Remix the ting.
I like that every time you do the...
It's getting longer, isn't
You
it?
sound like the Line of Duty machine.
That's what I'm going for.
Like, we'll do an edit though, it's all tense and we're just all looking at each other. What's going on?
But
20 minutes of that.
hopefully it gets longer. It will get longer.
What are we talking about today?
Today we're going to go through, to my left,
Hello.
Hello, guys. Oh, we got a guest.
Soulecta. All right. You didn't know.
Haven't seen that.
You didn't notice him. But Soulecta's brought out an album, Soulecta and Friends. We're going to talk about said album. We're going to talk about our favourite tracks. He's going to give us a few stories about it. Tell us.
Dish
the dirt.
He's going to give us the inside scoop.
Scoop.
So I thought we could all pick our favourite tracks from that album.
Yeah.
I assuming we all think the 4-1. So we'll just talk about the 4-1 for about 2-3 hours. We'll talk about
break
that.
it down.
Yes.
And then if people want to go listen to the other tracks on the album, they can.
But, you know, there's only one track really that's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first question is, why bother with an album? If you
Mad lockdown for me, mate.
the 4-track was there, you should have just gone. Just
10 singles of the
VIP.
same.
Why bother putting anything else around that perfection? That's what everyone was thinking. No, of course, no. We joke. Well, it's not a joke. Obviously, there's a lot of truth in it. But no, we'll pick a favourite. We'll skip the 4-track. Obviously, we all know that's the best one.
Yeah.
So we won't bring that up in this because everyone at home knows it. We all know it.
Yeah.
You know, everyone. We don't need a podcast to.
No.
You know, it's like doing a
We could do a
podcast
separate
about the
podcast.
colour of grass. Everyone knows it's green. Everyone knows it's the best track on the album. So we'll ignore that. But Aki,
Yep.
have you got another? Is there another one on the album you like?
I sure have, mate. No, my favourite is the one with Dread, Dance.
Yep.
And my reason behind that is because I haven't heard a lot of two-step from you in a long time, and it was just fresh, nice to hear you finally go back
Step
and make a
into that.
nice two-step
Yeah.
with a good vocal as well. It was very catchy. Dread smashed it
Yeah,
as well. So
absolutely, yeah.
yeah. So tell us a bit about that track.
Okay, so I mean, again, when making it up the last 2 years, I've pretty much only made 4/4 music,
Yeah.
and I thought making an album, it'd be good to do some two-step on there. And with two-step, it's one of those things where it's just, I think the main thing when you're doing a two-step track is to have a good vocal. So getting the vocal, I made the beat. I made it in like a couple of days, and just wanted to get a good vocal on it. Sent it over to Dread. Told them to do something. I wanted something really lively, sort of party track, and then a couple of weeks later, sent through the stems and just obviously mixed it down and everything, and that was how it came together pretty much. So.
Probably my favourite Dread vocal.
It's so I've been singing it in my head all day. It's so catchy.
It's also like it's a full song. It's got a verse, chorus, and
Yeah.
a bridge and stuff. So for a lot of like bait and a lot of Dread stuff is when it does bass house. You just have the one line, a couple of one-liners. So we did the full track together, and I think it really worked.
I've got to say, when I first saw it on the track list, Soulecta Dread, I was expecting to hear something slightly different.
Yeah.
So it's a nice surprise to hear that.
I think definitely it's definitely. Considering that I've been making 4/4 for the last 2 years, it's definitely something different. And for me, it kind of reminds me of it's sort of Genius Crew Boom Selection, like that kind of sort of party vibe,
Bouncy,
bouncy party vibe. That's kind of what I was trying to get at with that track. Sound like the drums are really old, like the snare drums really, it's an old school sounding snare. I wanted to bring back that kind of early 2000s two-step.
Yeah, it's just a good vibe, isn't it? It's a good vibe.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's a fun, upbeat track, but the quality is still there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to take away from the fact
It's
that
so
the
catchy as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
tune is such
Yeah,
good
it's very
quality.
catchy.
It's just a catchy party tune. That was the whole point. Didn't need to have like a deep meaning and stuff. It's just something for people to enjoy.
Does it make you want to dance?
It does, actually. I think I was skipped into the office today. I was actually listening to it on the way in.
Nice.
And this is the one that kind of, caught my ear.
Yeah, for sure.
You used to be second best skipper in Southampton, didn't you?
Well, probably first now.
Your team's probably got.
After skipping in the
Your
office
team's
today.
probably skipped into the front. So it's a really good one on the album. Very catchy.
Good tune.
Definitely one of my favourites too. Big up Dread.
Yeah.
Great vocal performance.
Yeah, smashed it.
Check out Dread's other 9,684 tunes he's featured on. I think he's done 15 tracks this week.
You can really do a 24-hour stream of
Hard
Dread tracks.
working guy.
It's
He's a very hard working guy.
Very good.
And that's why
working.
consistent.
And that's why
very consistent.
That's another reason why I'm such, because obviously, say the different style, he can do so, like he's still coming up with new ideas for tracks when he does like literally out one of the hardest working, nicest people.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
In dance. Big up Dread.
Legend.
Yeah.
Chris, what's your favourite track?
I'm torn because I've heard a lot of the songs on the album for a while, especially like the singles that have been around for a bit and that have featured in my sets. And you know, we've been talking about singles and stuff through the podcast that we've been doing. So like, it's different. If I'd have just heard the album from the off and not heard the singles before, then I've got a different answer.
Okay.
But like, because I heard the extra singles off the album, I've been sort of delving into them. So like, the one that comes to mind because of that is Whistler with Sushi Siege.
Yeah.
Pronouncing that.
Tongue twister.
Yeah, and
Tongue
Nate
twister.
Fox, and like, I didn't even know a lot about those two either, so that's been kind of interesting to delve into
Yeah.
like
No, I
what
didn't.
they're about and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I like the Emma Cannon track as well. It's really cool.
Yeah, she's excellent.
And then We Know Speak is probably my personal fave, but like, yeah, for
That's
like
been out
something
for a
that's
while.
like mega like new to me, I'm like the Whistler track. So yeah, like how did you? Because like I said, I like to think that I'm fairly on top of like garage stuff.
Yeah, he's the best at
And when-
research. He was
But when
devastated.
it's like, I don't know, I was like, who's this guy?
Yeah. I pulled a curveball a little bit on everybody with that one.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Tell us about that.
Like, so with Sushi C, like, I have a friend of mine that I actually like. I've known him since I was 15. He's a rapper called Danny Seth. He's from my area, and I've been friends with him for years. I chilled around his flat in his studio for last few years a few times, and he basically had a chat with him. What was it? It must have been around summertime last year. Had like a FaceTime with him, had a chat, and he told me about Sushi. I've got this friend who lives he's from Atlanta, but he was living in LA at the time, and
Right.
he's like, I've got this friend he's really into garage and stuff, and you guys should like get in touch with each other and do something together.
So he's not a UK guy living in America.
No, I think his dad's English. His dad's English, so I think he grew up. He might have grown up in. I can't remember what he said. I think he grew up in England until he was like 10, and then he moved to America.
Okay.
So he's had that kind of knowledge of garage that like an American normally wouldn't have. And he's obviously a sick producer, he's made loads of garage, he's made loads of drum and bass and jungle, and he's known for doing sort of hip hop stuff. He produced a track on AJ Tracy's debut album.
Okay.
So he produced one of the tracks there. It was like more of kind of grime, like a sort of grime instrumental. So, but he's got this. Him and Nate are doing their own sort of. They're just working on tracks for a new project, a new
Nate's done a
alias.
track on the Chance the Rapper album.
That's what I thought. I saw it on the SoundCloud.
They're all kind of. From what I know, they're really involved. They know a lot of those, like Chance the Rapper, and a lot of the guys in hip hop and stuff in America.
Yeah.
But again, they like garage. You know, they're some producers that they like that sound. And I'd basically had an hour long sort of call with Sushi Siege. Once my friend had got us in touch with each other, I thought I'd give him a shout and chat to him, and we got on really well. And I said to him, look, I'm working on this album right now. You know, would you like to get involved? You know, if you've got any tracks, any ideas to send me over? And his kind of style is way more two-steppy. So he did what he'd sent me over for Whistler was he sent me over some parts like the piano chords and the drum. It was like, you know, it was a sketch, so it wasn't fully. I did a lot of the, you know, the sort of the adding in extra bits of percussion and stuff, and the drums and the bass line I put in. But the chords and the overall kind of pads and the little whistle and stuff, the overall like lead stuff is what he sent over, and I basically turned it from the sketch was sort of more future. I would classify it as sort of future garage, and I kind of put in the UK 4/4 stuff, you know, that I've been working, you know, that kind of sound that I've been doing for the last couple of years.
You've got more dance floor friendly vibes.
Yes, I turned it into like sort of from more of a relaxed track to a dance floor track, but I think it was still airy enough to be like the final track of the album. I wanted like an outro track, like We Know Speak London is the first track, which kind of kicks it off. What's Your Standpoint on Garage? That sample kicks off the album, like this is what you're going to get, an energetic record, and then that track is the outro track. The last track is like a cool down kind of thing. So it worked perfectly, yeah. And obviously they're not involved as much with the UK scene because they don't live in the UK. So just getting some new people involved that people aren't familiar with. Like he only releases most of his stuff's on Bandcamp only. I think that's where you can find most of his stuff. So he's not like in the Juno or Beatport charts. So I quite quickly find new artists by seeing them put out an official release. and then getting in the charts. That's how I find a lot of artists.
If only there was someone who compiled music from UK garage from all around the world, then people would know about them, wouldn't they?
I mean, I do that. I just
Didn't know
He
about them,
dabbles
too,
there,
Well,
don't
no,
you?
Get everybody though,
just-
can
just
you?
like Bandcamp's tough though. I always say
Yeah.
Bandcamp because Bandcamp don't do any sort of collated chart or an easy
No, and
way
they
to
should do
search
that,
genres.
yeah.
If they did it, I think they would be the top of the
You would
platforms.
see, you'd be able to see like who is. That's what I think. If they did a chart system, it would be. You'd be able to. It'd be better. They make more money. People would make more money as well because
Yeah.
it'd be a lot easier to. You have to really know like
Discovering
hashtags
artists would be a
and-
lot easier. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think Bandcamp's all about artists making. You know, it would help
Helping
people
other artists,
sell.
yeah.
So I'm not blaming Bandcamp for my, research.
I think he is.
But I did
Yeah, I
like
think
it
you
before.
slightly are.
But yeah, also I'm a sucker for a talk box.
Yeah.
So I'm like, as soon as I was like, here we go.
That's what it's about. Yeah.
So yeah, Whistler's your. So my favourite.
Well, we know that, don't we?
Well, apart from the obvious one. Apart from the obvious- apart
Your
from
second favourite.
Apart from the obvious one. Yeah, again, if it was to come out with the singles, I think the Leanne Louise song's really good. Like, I think that's a really good.
Yeah.
So if it's, and obviously
Great record.
we know Speak London. Good for you. They're all good. They're all good. They're all good. But I think the Tough Culture one is my.
Yeah.
And I think if I was we were DJing out regularly, that would probably be in every single set. And we know Speak London. They'd be the two that I'd play every single set. I think guaranteed.
Yeah, they're really pick up and play kind of vibes about them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Definitely
you
more
can fit
for
them
going out and club.
right. Clubbing wise, you can
house.
fit them into a lot
Like,
of sets and
they're-
stuff. But
Yeah, I think like some of the more vocal tracks wouldn't. They're not. I didn't make them for clubs. I made them for
No.
radio and for like
Yeah.
good weather. You know.
But saying that though, I think, garage DJs have some sort of duty. It obviously depends
Yeah.
when they're playing, but to support these vocal tracks, not just from you, but from other artists in the scene, that I think us as DJs or other DJs need to support the vocal tracks for the scene to progress and get on a bigger platform.
Yeah, to
and
be
stuff.
in front of a bigger audience.
Because these are
Absolutely.
quality vocals, that just would deserve to be heard by a lot more people, in my opinion.
Yeah.
100%.
It's obviously a way, as a DJ, you have to find a way to work that into your set. But there are ways to do it, and there are things that you can do and stuff. And yeah, I don't want the vocals to go unnoticed, and I don't think they deserve to. They deserve a lot more than that.
What was your? Do you have a favourite on the album?
Probably same as Aki. Probably dance. Just because it was like the first proper two-step record I've got to put out in the last couple of years. Also the bass line I made on my Moog Sub 37. So, like considering I've had it for 4 years and I barely use it for that particular track, I just light bulb. Maybe I should try my Moog up for the bass line, and it worked. The sound I got out of it for that
That's
particular
really good,
thing
yeah.
was really. And actually, when I obviously with hardware you've got to record it. You've got to record it in an audio.
Yeah.
But I drew the I played the MIDI in, and then sorted the MIDI blocks out. Got all that right in Ableton, and then when I recorded it, I just literally sat there to get the movement in the bass line. I just was playing with the cutoff filter, just sitting there recording it, going whoop, whoop,
Get it right.
just sitting there doing that, and that was. I don't really do that a lot in tunes because
No,
I'm so
right.
stuck on digital. So
Right.
I think there's that having that element in the track. The only track on the album where I actually got to use my Moog. I think
Yeah.
that adds a bit more. Plus, it was a two-step track with a good vocal and the chords as well. It's just something a bit different, I think, to what I'm.
What was the last track for the? What was the last one you did? What was the finishing?
The
like
finishing
that's
one.
it, done. That's the final piece of the puzzle. What was the last one you did?
Maybe it might have been the Emma Cannon. Actually, yeah, maybe Emma Cannon was the last one that trying to think. I made tweaks like the Shosh and Neat track and Leanne Louise as well. I made some mixed tweaks as well. So like we'd actually got them mastered, and then I'd listen to it, play it in a set, and realise okay that the vocal needs to come up. So there were some tweaks that were made earlier this year and stuff. But I think Emma Cannon was probably production wise one of the last ones that I'd finished off. From memory, it was end of last year basically. So. Project one came together pretty quickly, and probably Emma Cannon one, I think. Yeah,
Big up to her, by the way. One to
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah.
really
yeah,
is.
she's
Yeah,
just
one of the
great
Great
best,
tunes lately and stuff.
one of the best top
Yeah,
line
really
good,
singers
Amazing
in the new
vocalist.
scene.
Really
Yeah,
good.
definitely one to watch. So yeah, it's a great album.
Very well done, sir.
No, it's very good.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
really good.
Anything else you want to add?
When's the next one?
I actually, do you know what? If I pulled my finger out, probably 2 months.
You've got a lot of stuff in the locker.
There is stuff, yeah. There is stuff in the lockup, but it's just working out timings and stuff like that. You know,
clubs coming back.
Yeah, well, there's the
we've
whole,
been saying this the last few months. We've been wondering if producers are sort of sitting on stuff, going, biding your time.
People are definitely waiting, but I personally want to know that I don't want clubs to open for a month and then on Bojo on TV. Sorry, guys. They're going to have to shut you down again for 6 months.
Yeah.
You know? Quite good at the Bojo impressions. And so I just want to know that we're like clubs are open for good.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I'm sure you're going to see loads of people, not just me, but obviously, but you know, a lot of producers with stuff in the lockup, but they're all going to start.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, letting it out there.
I look forward to seeing what else you've got coming, man.
So thank you very much for coming.
Cheers, my pleasure,
Nice
guys.
one,
mate.
Nice one.
Listen and buy the album, stream the album.
Yeah, support it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's out now.
A quality piece, like garage albums especially, they are few and far between.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, top quality. This.
So yeah,
go out, support it, tell your friends. Yeah, let us know what your favourite tracks are in the comments. Wallop.